It's it's May 5th, right? So it's May 5th, a Tuesday. And so it's not Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? It is Tuesday, May 5th. I'm trying to remember what all I did today so that I can remember what day it is. Hopefully you all are not falling into that same trap, right? Where you're just kind of moving along and doing the same things every day. And so life is a little bit different every day for me, depending on what people I talk with and my schedules and those kinds of things. But hoping that everything is going well for you today. Like I said, it's May 5th, and so we're just kind of chugging along here in our calendar. Pretty soon it's going to be sunny and warm all the time. Today's just not that day yet, and so it's decent enough to go outside, but not really where I want it to be, and I don't know about you. And so, hey, we're getting a few people on here, and so, hey, I just want to encourage you to keep going on with whatever you're doing during this time, and I know that there's a lot of us who are settling in and enjoying this, and I know that there's still others who are moving things on. Joel, what's up, buddy? Thanks. I actually was cold on my last meeting. I was in a small group earlier, and I had to run, and my coat was right here in my office. And so shout out to our Connect guys if I could figure out how to do it. That is our group of ministers that I meet with that encourage me over and over and over again. But hey, over the last few weeks, we've been talking about what it means to be devoted, right? And speaking of our Connect guys, really spurred on and encouraged by a book written by Aaron Chambers called Devoted that we're using as our backdrop to kind of guide me through this time period as well. But we've been talking about what does it mean to be devoted to Jesus, right? And we talked about that big question that he asked Peter, do you love me? And realizing that what I need in order to enter into a relationship with Jesus isn't to have a long list of do's and don'ts or knowledge of certain things. It's just the love for him. And he says, when you do that, you're going to begin to enter into a relationship with me. And so, and that's what he requires of us. I know we try to do so many other things, but it's that love. And then we talked about having to wait. Right? That sometimes in that relationship, we have to wait so that relationship grows and blossoms. And this week, we're talking about trust. Right? What does it mean to trust Jesus? And today, even more than that, I want to say that maybe it's doing something that many of us aren't really encouraged or equipped or wanting to do. Right? And so if you want to check out more, again, for our small groups, your questions, you can find them at wholechristian.org/devoted. Or you can just check out our website and follow links through there as well. But in a time period where we like to be independent, right? Our lives, we like to be independent. Need any proof of that? Just turn on the news at any time, right? We want our independence. We want to be able to do what we want to do, when we want to do it, how we want to do it. We want to make sure that we have our bank accounts flush and our stockpiles high. We want to make sure that we have all the necessary things that we need, whether it's food in our freezer or cleaning supplies in our closets. We want to have those things so that we can be independent. Here's what I'm beginning to find, though, is that Jesus not only tells his followers, those early followers, to stay and wait, but he says to trust me. Trust me, because if you do, I'm going to send you the Holy Spirit, and you're going to have power to be able to do some really, really cool things. You're going to be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth. But you have to trust me. Trust me enough that you're going to wait, and you're going to believe that I'm going to send you a power that you wouldn't be able to do any of these things on your own. You're going to have to depend on me and my Spirit. And what's amazing is that at a time where you would think, okay, now these guys are getting freed up, they'd get more independence. Jesus is actually calling on them to be more dependent on him and more dependent on each other. They're going to need to stick together in order for that to succeed. And there's going to be some amazing things that come from it. And as they trust Jesus to do the things that he says he's going to do, they get strengthened and renewed. You know, for those of us who are followers of Jesus, right, maybe you're not familiar. And so I'm going to read the passage here. But there's a passage in the fourth chapter of Acts. And Acts is that book that talks about the church and the things that they've been doing. And really, really cool how a group of people said yes to Jesus and then just began to bloom and blossom and grow exponentially. But in Acts chapter 4, we kind of get an account of how they were living. In Acts chapter 4, verse 32, it says, "Now the full number of those who believed were of one heart and soul, and no one said that any of the things that belonged to him was his own, but they had everything in common. And with great power," listen, there's that word again, right? Jesus said, "I promised them to bring you power." It says, "And with great power, the apostles were giving their testimony to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and great grace was upon them all." Now, there's a couple things happening here. One is the power that Jesus promised the apostles actually came to them. Two is that they were actually doing the things that he told them they were going to get to do. Their trusting in Jesus, of waiting in Jerusalem, actually allowed them to see this fruit, to see their mission that Jesus was sending them all come true. But it didn't just affect them. It began to change their world around them. It changed their culture. And for those who would say yes to Jesus and become devoted to Jesus, everything changed. Right? It continue on. It says, "There was not a needy person among them, for as many as were owners of lands or houses sold them and brought the proceeds of what was sold and laid it at the apostles' feet. And it was distributed to each as any had need." Man, I love that. And I don't love it just from the fact that cool things are happening, but because of the amount of trust that it took for them to actually say yes to this. Right? It's something that I think we can model still today. A trusting that what Jesus says is going to come true. And that I trust him enough that if I am going to have to if I'm going to have to move or live somewhere where I'm not going to have a means, I'm going to actually be in need, that somebody will take care of me, that there's going to be this group that God puts around me that will make sure that my life is sustained. And there was nobody with need. Well, what's amazing here is if you don't know the history behind this, there were people who came, saw a resurrected Jesus in Jerusalem, or saw what was beginning to happen, and then never went back home from Jerusalem. They stayed there. And so they stayed there and trusted Jesus enough that his church, his people were going to live differently, not to where they would hoard the things that they have for themselves, but actually would offer up this hospitality that would say, "Come on in, you're going to be welcomed here." And not just welcomed here, but you are going to be made part of, so much so that we are going to share some of our status, our belongings, our savings, so that your life could be elevated. So that you don't become just this guest. We now become in this together. So there was this trust that if I had need, there was going to be this group of people, which, by the way, friends, if you don't know, this is the picture of the church. There's going to be this church. If I'm in need and I am willing to trust that Jesus is truly all he says he is, then he's going to place me in a group of people that will care for me. And I'm going to trust him enough for that. And if I have means, if I'm somebody who has the resources, I'm going to trust Jesus enough that if I share them, I'm still going to be able to live later on. And man, I find it so exciting, exhilarating that for all of my life, I always grew up, whether it was the culture of society around me, or sadly even some inside of the church that said, save up for yourself so that you don't get yourself into trouble, so that later on you'll be able to survive or even be above and beyond where everybody else is. And Jesus says, hey, maybe there's a different way. A different way where it's not just you who gets to live and be joyful, but a way where your life really can have fulfillment and meaning. And it's not about becoming more independent, but becoming more dependent. More dependent upon Jesus and his church that he's placed around us. I think if I'm really beginning to understand what it means to be devoted to Jesus, it means giving up more of myself so that he can take care of me more. And I know that's going to play out in different ways for all of us. It's going to play out in different ways for all of us. And I know the extent or the things that he's going to ask each of us to do is going to be a little bit different. But my hope is that we have enough trust in Jesus that if we are a people in need, that we trust that God is going to help. and that we would trust him enough that we would open our voice and share that need with others, share that need with his church. And I hope that we trust Jesus enough that if we're a people of means, that we trust him enough that if we share, he will continue to take care of us. I love that picture. I love that picture because it shows what the church is supposed to be. And my hope is that as I become more devoted to Jesus, as I fall more deeply in love with him, that I begin to see more and more of that. Man, God bless you guys. And I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that I got to chat with you for a little bit. I hope you enjoy your Cinco de Mayo. Eat some tacos. I know it's stereotype, but I'm going to take it. And because I enjoy tacos. And so I'm going to use that as an excuse for tonight for me to eat them. And so, again, love you guys. Look forward to seeing you soon. Hey, whole Christian church people, maybe for the rest of you as well. We're doing a thing called high-fiving, where we're not able to physically high-five people right now, but we are going to reach out and connect with 5 people this week. We've been trying to do that every week. And so I'm encouraging you to continue to do that as things begin opening up. Restaurants here in our whole Lansing area are starting to open back up for more and more of them are opening up for drive-through and those kinds of things. Hey, let's support our community. Go out there, hit up some of our local restaurants and tip well. Right? There's people there who haven't been seeing business the same way as they have been before. So visit those places, get some order out. And if you're people of means, hey, buy something and leave it on a friend's porch, right? And send them some good news as well. Hey, love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.